Hi, welcome back to my channel. I was just about to fit this flywheel to the engine and I intended to do a clutch video, and I thought, well, it's better to really explain how it works on the bench like this. So I will do that and then I will fit it to the actual engine. The flywheel attaches to the crankshaft on this register here and these 4 bolts, and the gearbox input shaft, the end of it, very end of it, goes into this bronze bush here. And so when you fit the clutch, you have to line this clutch up with that hole there, otherwise you won't be able to attach the gearbox to the engine. Now on all clutch plates, I don't know if that will come out, but on there it says flywheel side, so they only go round one way, so that's the flywheel side. Now you can buy tools that will align the clutch plates, and they're all different sizes. Well, these don't fit, but in the past I've made this type, and so it's much easier to use these because this size will fit lots of different clutches, and so the angle will locate just as well in there. So you just put this in the clutch plate, and as you can see, it lines it up nicely. But I'm not going to use this because I've got something even better, which is the actual shaft from the scrap gearbox that I have. So that will locate in there. Just as you can see, it works just as well actually. And this is the pressure plate, and it's sometimes called a cover plate in parts books and things. So it's these springs that will put the driving pressure onto the clutch plate. This is a thrust bearing, and it's just an ordinary bearing in there. You can knock these out. And so the thrust bearing pushes on these 3 fingers, and those 3 fingers pivot. I don't know if we can see it, but they actually pivot at this point here. So they will pivot. This comes up and it pulls the pressure plate away from the clutch plate. So that's when you put your foot on the clutch, that's what happens. These pivot like that and release the pressure. Now there is a difference between the consoles and the Zephyrs and Zodiacs, obviously, because the 6-cylinder cars have got more power. Now in the book it says that the early clutches only had 4 of these springs, cushioning springs, and the Zephyrs had 5 cushioning springs. So then they changed it to the later type, and so all cars had 6 springs on the later cars. And these springs should be yellow for the console and maroon for the Zephyrs and the Zodiacs. Now this is a aftermarket clutch, and these came together. I fitted this, I think I fitted this before I even owned a car, so the colours are wrong on here. Now in the cover plate, the consoles should be yellow springs, and the Zephyrs and Zodiacs should be brown springs. So that's the difference between the 2 types of cars. Right, I'm just going to stone this face. It's a very fine stone, this is, because you don't want any digs in here, because even the slightest dig on that face will make the flywheel run out, and you know, that will cause vibration. So just make sure there's no nasty knocks on there, and this feels fine, it's not a problem. So I can see that's nice and flat. Right, put a little smear of oil on there and on the peg to help it on a little bit, because it is a bit tight. I've just put all 4 bolts in without this, because these bolts are quite tight in here, and this was stopping the bolts going in properly. So any bolt, especially a critical bolt like this, you should always screw it in by hand. Don't rely on your socket to make it bite, because then you can damage the thread. So all these now go in by hand. So I know it's all lined up and it's pulled back square. So now I can try putting this in. See, that one's in nice. I think what happened when I heated it up, as you can see, this has been heated up. The clutch, it's not the clutch getting hot. I did this with a blowtorch, and what I did, I got this red hot to soften this metal, because I'm reusing this tab washer, and they could actually break off. So I've softened it so it'd be easier then to bend the tabs over. So these have to be done up to 70 to 75 pounds per foot. So I'll just double check that is 75. Now I might have problems with it spinning, but I'm going to try it like this first. Yeah, that's not going to go. It's not going to go on. Okay, they're all done up tight, and these are 5/16 UNC bolts. So now, just hope that these tabs don't break off. Before I fit the clutch, I'm going to put some grease on the inside, not too much, but this does need to be lubricated, obviously, because what happens sometimes with these, if they are tight and there's no grease in there, what will happen is you push the clutch down and the friction in this bush carries on turning the input shaft. And that's sometimes you see cars where you push a clutch down and it crunches when it goes into gear if there's no synchro mesh on first, and this is the reason. So I think this is an oil light bush which is porous. I could put a drop of oil in there as well, but I'm going to put grease in there and make sure it's properly lubricated. And the thing is that this grease probably won't get onto the clutch, because if it comes out of here it will go down into this groove here, and there's two holes. There's one hole there, one hole there, and they're at an angle. They're pointing towards the back of the flywheel, and the grease will be sprayed out the back of the flywheel and eventually come down here. I haven't filled this up with grease, but I put enough in there that my finger is greasy when I put it in there. One drawback with this is that won't go over there. My plans have been scuppered. Right, so now I can use this. That's in there now. Right, these have to be done up 12 to 15 pounds per foot. So that's the lowest of my tool bench. That's not very tight. Once the clutch starts slipping, that's it. There's nothing you can do. You can't adjust it. All you have to do is take the gearbox off and renew the pressure plate and the clutch plate, and it's just a simple job to do that. The only way that this adjustment could cause it to slip is if it's been adjusted wrong, and so this rod is too long and it's been pushed out, and the thrust bearing is constantly pushing these fingers even when your foot is off the pedal. But that shouldn't happen if you're driving your car, then all of a sudden it slips. That shouldn't be the case. There's one other thing, is this. Now, if anyone knows a supplier of these or a modern one that would fit, I would be very interested, because this isn't rubber, this is a plastic, and it's original to the car, and as you can see it's gone rock solid, and I can't even refit that because that's going to split, and it's already split there. So the hole in the bed housing, I think, is about 45 millimeters square or something like that, and I've been searching around for a modern equivalent from a modern car and asking people on eBay, but they keep coming up with different sizes, so that would be very interesting if I could get that. Apparently these are not the same as the Mark IIs. I think the Mark IIs are bigger, so I can't find a Mark I. I know most of you have done a clutch, most people that have watched this, and even if you haven't got a Mark I console, I'm sure you've done clutches on other cars, but there are a few people that have just got into the hobby and they're not sure how to do this. This is why I made this video, really, to explain how to adjust the clutch and how it works. So that completes this video, and thank you for watching. Hope to see you next time.